Welcome to today's communication event. It's a pleasure to be here with you all. I'll be glad to share updates during the event surrounding key elements of the business's growth and development. My name is Josh Watkins, and I am the CEO of Minutes Network, for those who don't know already. First of all, to recap on our last AMA regarding the roadmap. The milestone roadmap will reflect the current status of each milestone, and the additional details will also be added to each item on the map in the next update. That is due to go live in the second week of August, and as previously communicated, the status of milestones on the roadmap are set to be updated on a monthly basis. Tasks completed will be marked as completed, and we're proud to say that we have not missed a single milestone at this point, and we are working well ahead of time. If you have not seen the milestones yet, you can view them by visiting milestones.minutesnetwork.io in your browser. The Minutes Network Explorer and website are both pending additional updates that are both respectively due to go live in August and September. The Explorer will be equipped with all new metrics and provide new, deeper insights and analytical data over the existing traffic on the network. And the Minutes Network website is receiving a general update, further detailing our core offerings whilst detailing our multifaceted suite of products. Minutes Network is growing, guys, with traffic on the network expanding and set for continued global expansion. We are in a very happy place. Let's start with Jamaica. In Jamaica, we saw a great success in the amount of signups to integrate the Jingle platform. We're working with the applications that signed up to integrate the plugin. In the near future, we'll report further progress on those integrations, and the progress will obviously as well be reflected on our roadmap and Network Explorer as calls to the country go live on Minutes Network. We are also scheduled to host further events in Jamaica, which will be released, or more information will be released on those events closer to the time. A large amount of international telephone traffic is terminated to Jamaica, and it's a wonderful market for us to operate in. It's not the only planned market in the Caribbean for expansion. Events are also set to be hosted in Albania, the Philippines, Nigeria, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and many more countries to promote the use of the Jingle plugin, the Revenue Turbine, and other Mintech proprietary technologies. The expected outcome of these events is more utilization in terms of signups, meaning more integrated users, meaning more live calls on the network, and more revenue being generated. Some of these events will be streamed live to the community, whilst others will be recorded and posted for viewing. We are set to schedule meetings with SEW, Boss Revolution, an application named Muslim Pro, and more large and small applications that are in the various states of integration during August. I can tell you that integrations are moving quicker than ever before, with signups to integrate our plugin at a record high last month. In Nigeria, the National Identity Management Commission is making good progress. We are on the very last steps of the integration. It'll be a huge win for us as a network. We do expect immense traffic and scale for Nigeria and the countries aforementioned, remembering that individual applications sometimes equip us for multi-country scale, depending on the application's audience. 2 members of our team are currently on the ground in Kosovo. We have met with our existing local application partners who are integrating Jingle separately in Kosovo. The final steps of negotiations over the integration of an additional large-scale deployment of a Jingle integrated application, supported and enhanced by a major local and international celebrity. We will talk more about how Minutes Network works hand in hand with our partners at World Mobile to monetize existing audiences at a later date. There are actually several superstar level partnerships in place. We will return to this subject in the near future with more information. Talks are continuing with the UK's largest mobile gaming application creator, and we can foresee lifting the NDA so that we can announce the name and type of integration planned. As with all of our planned expansions, this is extremely exciting. It's positioned to bring us a lot of users and traffic to the network post-integration, and that won't just be in one country. It's moving quickly, and the company is genuinely excited about the additional monetization on the table for their users. We are almost in a position to announce the strategic partnership officially, which is set to bring the users live on the network and then the traffic as well. With SMS traffic already live on the network, a significant expansion of our SMS traffic that exists is ahead of us. Carrier-grade deployments are currently underway, and tests by various carriers have been made and are already looking good. We have marked 2 months that our SMS service have operated uninterrupted with absolute integrity and stability and perfect delivery ratios and delivery receipts. I'm extremely happy to say that the network is performing. Unity is also gearing up for a major release. Beta testing, as you know, has been finished. The results are optimal. We can expect to see the release of Unity during Q3. And we just signed an MOU with a top 20 Web3 entity, amongst other large Web3 entities relating to Unity. You can expect to see news on this and from these Web3 entities in the near future. I'm sure that there'll be different partnership announcements and different strategic announcements, as well as AMAs and sort of, fireside chats with these Web3 entities. The date of our next telecommunications roundtable event will be released in an upcoming announcement this week or next week. We expect to see 3 or 4 senior telecommunications executives join us for the event, who will be named closer to the time of the event, to discuss the technologies at heart and the current and future deployments of the Mintech suite of technologies. This event will be exclusively hosted on X Spaces. Our commercial and telecoms engineering team is expanding. We will be announcing new members very soon. We'll also ask them to come up to maybe the next AMA, probably around the 15th or the 18th of August. Pakistan is live on the network. It's growing. We expect massive growth from Pakistan extremely quickly. It's settling initially around the millions of minutes per day mark. Okay, that growth will continue beyond the millions of minutes per day mark, but initially that's the sort of point we expect to be at over the next foreseeable couple of weeks. You can expect further and very specific information on the Pakistan country level deployment to be announced in the near future in great detail. It is enormous for us as a network. It's a model that is ready to be deployed in multiple countries. We do have a 20-year contract with the major providers in Pakistan as it stands, and we're looking to not only ramp up the traffic that's on the network right now, but also increase those margins utilizing the Mintech technology suite. There'll be a lot of jingle integration going on. I can reveal more information to you on this subject in the next week or so. I do expect to hold an event specifically dedicated to Pakistan, and sort of dedicated to the growth of Pakistan on our network. I believe there'll be lots of questions post that event. It's a very exciting moment. These technologies are not being used elsewhere in the globe today. These are technologies that we've made and that we're very proud of. They obviously allow reinvigoration of carrier profitability and reinvigoration of the margins that a traditional carrier might see. So for us, that's a big win, and we are very excited to deploy it in more countries. We also have an additional country in the Middle East set for deployment, and it's being tested now, live in the labs. This deployment will feature both voice and SMS traffic. You can expect to see more on it in the future. I know that one of the carriers from Pakistan has already put out some press release content. I don't actually have the link. I'm not sure if it's cleared on Google or indexed on Google just yet, but as soon as it is, we'll make that announcement known. Now, the API usage on our previously publicly released APIs is going up. We're seeing lots of different usage and utilization of those APIs, primarily by Nico. But we do see a lot of requests that are not Nico, and we are very interested to know where those requests come from. And actually, because I think there's more than 15 or 20 active users polling the API today. We are deploying more extensions and more endpoints to the API. They are being actively deployed over the last couple of weeks. We have shown growth in terms of the available features and information that can be retrieved from the API, and we will continue to show more options and more deliverable data from the API over the next couple of weeks. There is an ongoing WM chain integration where we are posting significant amounts of metadata to WM chain. That is part of our transparency, accounting, and settlement rollout in relation to the up-and-coming exchange, voice exchange that we're going to be running. I'll be able to give you more information on that data being posted to WM chain and some examples of the live transactions that have been sent to the chain in the near future. Global media coverage is set to expand. We have around 7 or 8 events booked in the next 6 months. You can expect to see a lot in terms of global media, a lot in terms of coverage. We're talking to some really big names about the technology. I don't want to mention any of those names today, but they are some of the largest in the field of technology as it stands today. I also know that Mark is due to run a scheduled AMA on Minutes Network token. I know that this will be announced shortly with an official confirmation of the date and time of the event. So, utilizing our proprietary core technologies, we are expanding the network. We are scaling the network. We're set for global expansion, and we are creating the world's largest carrier by user base. We expect the onboarding of large live traffic to multiple countries imminently. Now, I would like to move to the questions that have been asked across the various social media platforms, and then we'll make some time to take live questions from the audience, if there are any, before we finish with some final updates. So I have a question from Sean. Will Minutes Network consider integrating Jingle with soon-to-be BaseApp, another potential huge opportunity? Sean, yes, we will be looking at BaseApp. It is very interesting for us. We are watching closely with WM's integration, and I think there will be more information announced on this as it becomes ready. As it stands, we don't have an integration with BaseApp, but this is something that we are considering. And by the way, guys, if you have any follow-up questions, or if you don't think that I've answered a question fully and you'd like to sort of dig more on it, feel free to post some more information on social media and we'll pick them up at the end of the spaces. I see a question from Scrappy. Question to the team for the next token AMA. Well, I don't think I can answer this one, but I'll read it just in case there's some information I can give. I can see that the buybacks occurring now in July look to be based on the buyback accumulated in June. I assume that's correct. However, before June, the buyback total had already hit a certain number. How is this early accumulated buyback fund getting used? Is the plan to buy back extra over the next X months? Scrappy, the information I can give you on that is absolutely, the plan is to buy back extra, in your air quotes that you've put there, over the next X months. We are playing catch up with the buyback, and it will be playing catch up until it's caught up. We are doing everything that we can to ensure from the Minutes Network side that we, use those funds strategically and in line with market expectations and in line with the expectations of Minutes Network token. We have a question from Ali2159. The buyback bot is doing an amazing job. I just wanted to ask, for the next epoch, will you be depositing more ETH to fund the buybacks? I'm asking because ETH has recently gone up in price and it might correct downwards in the coming days. The way that funds are managed, we don't leave too much funds in ETH. We actually use, USDC to hold those funds at a static price so that we're not losing money as the market goes down. Of course, if the market goes up, we would gain money, but we're not here to speculate with those funds. Those funds are to be paid, 2 Minutes Network token for the DeepIn services provided. Barely Human has a question. I have a question for the next token AMA, again token. Will you be providing an API or a downloadable file to catalog transactions for tax purposes? I will forward that to Mark. I know that's something that has been discussed. And I know that there are multiple extensions to the existing APIs being rolled out today. Dodo. How do carriers profit from Mintech exactly? Since the whole process through Minutes Network is cheaper than traditional routes, this means that at some point during the process, costs must be saved or cut. Is this the case? Then if this is the case, then someone loses money. Either a carrier or a wholesaler that has been terminating the calls prior to Minutes Network. So not everybody can be happy here. Someone is losing business. When Minutes Network is taking their share of the revenue away, can you break down who that is and how dangerous it can be for Minutes Network if those people are dissatisfied? So to give you a clear answer, Dodo, and for everybody listening, when with the inception of WhatsApp many years ago, carriers did lose minutes and carriers did lose profit. We are no different than WhatsApp. We are no different than Viber in the sense of the technologies that we're deploying. We act as a voice over IP endpoint receiving utility within an application. And the fact that technology advances over time, businesses change, okay? We are exactly the same as WhatsApp. We don't interfere with the telecom grid. We don't connect to the telecom grid. There's no connection to the local national infrastructure. We simply receive calls on a digital level in international waters primarily, and we bridge those calls directly to the endpoint users of the applications, or we run them through the revenue turbine or similar pieces of technology that we've made. So if there are carriers that are losing minutes to WhatsApp and Viber and Skype, etc., then you can imagine that there are carriers that will also lose minutes to Minutes Network. We are not shy about that. We are absolutely aware that the technology in this space has been stagnant for a very, very long time. And we are aware, that times are changing and voice over IP is no longer in its infancy. It's been around for a long time, and we're satisfied with the approach that we're taking. When we talk to various regulators and members of the ITU, we get told things like it's a breath of fresh air, right? Because we're giving back. We're giving back to the originating carrier, we're giving back to the people who receive and make those telephone calls, and we're giving back via the sharing economy. So it's a very interesting model, remembering that WhatsApp and Viber do none of those things. So I hope that answers your question, Dodo. Feel free to follow up with an additional question if you don't think that that's a sufficient answer for you. Dpins. We have a question from Dpins. Can you go into more detail about the hybrid model, answering the following questions and affirming or correcting any of the following assumptions? The 10% threshold for country deployment has to do with call connection metrics on the carrier side. It's a quality standard Minutes Network has put into place to prevent too many unconnected calls and having those bad metrics show up on the carrier side. The hybrid model allows Minutes Network to connect high volume, low rate calls like we are currently seeing in Pakistan. Does that mean under this hybrid architecture that Minutes Network can deploy live on the network any Jingle apps as soon as they're integrated, bypassing the 10% threshold? Yes, it does. It actually means a lot more than that. And that's why I'd like to give Pakistan its own dedicated session. What we are doing in Pakistan is unprecedented. It's set for parabolic growth of the network. We are rolling out in multiple countries as it speaks under the same model that you're seeing in Pakistan. Although you saw the traffic increase relatively slowly over a few days in the last couple of weeks, and now you might see a little decrease in that traffic as customers pull on and off networks that they're testing, we will see an immense amount of growth in Pakistan over the next couple of weeks. I believe beginning from Wednesday, tomorrow, or Thursday, we'll see the next significant upticks in terms of volume on the network. The hybrid model is an extremely intelligent strategic model for us. It enables us to bring the traffic on the network whilst terminating the calls at a regular margin, which is extremely profitable for any traditional carrier business. But it also allows us to increase that margin using our technology that we've built. And increasing that margin is something that other carriers can't do without us, right? They just can't do it without the technology that we have built and that we possess and have tested. So it looks to be very interesting. In such a model, we are also able to predict and project revenues, and I'll go into more detail on that later, maybe in today's call or in the dedicated session on Pakistan itself. The numbers are outrageous, okay? What we're looking at is extremely exciting. It's the most advanced model that we could have possibly deployed, and it's hand in hand with the carrier. Just wait till the press releases come out and you'll understand more, and wait until we go into detail on Pakistan, because what we've got here is as I said, it's a readily copyable model to many countries out there, and we'll deploy this globally very, very quickly. And to continue the question, can Minutes Network do this because connecting high volume, low rate calls mitigates the problem of having too many unconnected calls and therefore calls are connected at a much higher percentage? Well, actually, our average success ratio or average seizure ratio, which is called ASR in the industry, it's the amount of calls that are attempted compared to the amount of calls that are connected. It's very high because we send back a 503 if we can't, 503 in the industry is a clean rejection. And we send back a 503 if we can't connect a call, which is not discounted from the ASR. So actually, we never see a damaged ASR on the carrier side. We simply see a low inbound attempt ratio compared to connection ratio internally, unless we have, something higher than the 10% threshold. That 10% number was made by us based on scientific circumstance. And actually, the hybrid model defeats the entire purpose of that 10%, and it puts it completely out of the objective window. We no longer rely on having 10% coverage in a country to actually launch under this hybrid model, which is why you'll see much faster scaling in additional countries very shortly. I hope that answers your question, Deepins. I know that, in the next session or later in today's session, you'll be receiving much more information, and I'm sure there'll be additional questions from there. So it's a very exciting opportunity, very serious approach. Nobody's doing it. We are the first, and actually we have a very good reaction from the local partners in Pakistan as well. Andrew, you have a question. For the next AMA, can we get some clarification on what the metrics on the Explorer are representing? For example, these circles are filled to varying degrees by carrier, and I don't know what this means or why revenue today consistently seems to be around 50% day after day. To be absolutely frank with you, Andrew, I can see that you've attached a picture to this question. I don't see the 50% revenue today in your picture, but I can tell you that these in the picture that you've sent, they are showing the calls connected per carrier on a per carrier sort of per country basis. As we add more countries, we will obviously need to upgrade the way that we are presenting these details, and that is, where I go back to the beginning of today's call to let you know that there is an Explorer upgrade coming out. The Explorer Minutes Network Network Explorer will be upgraded to contain a great deal of more information, sortable information by country, by carrier, by amount of calls, etc. And we'll give you some filters so you can really understand those metrics in detail. And that will be needed as we roll out globally because, we probably don't have enough room on the current Explorer page for the amount of carriers that you're going to see there. And we don't want to, we'd rather not let the page scroll down too much. So perhaps we'll use expanding boxes per country or a filter, as I said. IBIS nodes. Question from IBIS nodes. Will Unity allow CNA Cardano native assets to be claimed as rewards? Yes, it will. Unity is capable of offering reward claims in a multitude of different currencies, and those will be listed at a time in the near future when Unity is released. PW8595. Are there any plans to onboard any of the India or Nepal markets to Minutes Network? Nepal is massive for us, okay? Nepal is something that we're looking with. great, with an eye to great excitement. We don't have a rollout currently active in Nepal, but we will get one. There is an awful lot of amount of traffic going to Nepal. India is also very exciting. A lot of people in India, a lot of telephone calls. The rate's a bit lower than, even that of Pakistan or Nepal itself, but we will be looking at India and Nepal in the near future. Actually, some of the applications that we've previously discussed with have immense coverage in India, and we're actually looking forward to getting that volume on the network. But I think Nepal may come before India. We will release some more information on the roadmap, probably before the end of next week, and you'll see sort of what we are aiming to do globally and which countries we're going to be moving into quicker than others. Steve, we have a question from Steve. Really appreciate everything you are all doing. Thrilled to be a small part of this amazing adventure. Thank you very much, Steve. We are all thrilled, and your involvement is also appreciated. I'll take one for the team. When merchandise is coming, we prioritize expansion and growth and scale at this time. When we release a merchandise store, you can imagine it will be probably one of the best merchandise stores in the market. We'll put a lot of care into detail, and we'll make sure that the products are extremely high quality. But as it stands, it's not our priority. Our priority is to onboard as many countries with as many minutes and monetize them utilizing our technologies, increasing margins as quickly as possible. To continue Steve's question, could I cheekily request there are polo shirts as well as the usual round neck t-shirts? Yes, you definitely can. I like polo shirts too, and I also like round neck t-shirts. An additional question. When are we likely to see further data insights for the nodes? The API from Minutes Network side has been passed to Minutes Network token, and that is being detailed and implemented within the secure token control panel. As far as I understand, it's on the way. It will be there very soon. As soon as it's there, there'll be an announcement made, Steve. So I hope that rounds up those questions for you. We have a question from RW. What are the expected minutes to be processed in Pakistan per day within 1 to 4 weeks, and then long term? Yeah, long term, we're looking at 120 million minutes a month or more, which is approximately 15 to 20% of the total volume to the country, originated to the country via the PSTN. In the next 1 to 4 weeks, we're looking at millions of minutes a day. Let's say 1 or 2 million minutes a day within the next 1 to 4 weeks, which is, a substantial amount of traffic. It's getting near to 10% coverage in the country in terms of actual live volume on the platform. RW has an additional couple of questions. What percentage of these are expected to run on Jingle, and what time frame is expected for this? So actually, we've been doing some lab tests, and in testing, we're seeing a very high conversion ratio. That deserves a session of its own. So I'm not going to give you the numbers on that today, but we are seeing a fair and high conversion ratio when it comes to actually bringing users on net and increasing their margins. In terms of time frame, I think during September we will see the absolute monetization and increased margins on the country. Once running through Jingle, another question was, what is the rate per minute that is invoiced? Pakistan. Okay, so we actually receive 100% of the call revenue for every call that lands on Jingle. So there is no rate per minute. We are the provider when it comes to actually, onboarding these users into Jingle. It's end to end, right? We own the traffic, we own the traditional margin, we own the users, and we own the increased margin. Okay, and it's completely end to end. We literally own the rails. We haven't done a deployment like this previously, and this is the first of many. This is actually the fastest way to make the network grow, with the most profit along the way, as a business, right? We're always cautious to keep an eye on the margins and the volumes on the system. So I hope that answers that question, RW. You have a couple more questions here. I'm going to go ahead and answer. I hope everybody can hear me okay. I haven't actually checked the token community or the unofficial community to see. Uh, okay, so there's no complaints on the microphone side. Um, Will Unity launch this month? And would it be wise to have the airdrop before Unity so WMT and MNT communities are more likely to run Unity nodes? I don't make the decision as to when the airdrop goes live. There has been some talk about it. I know it's happening. I know Q3 was mentioned. Let's see when that airdrop gets made, okay? In terms of Unity, yes. Will it be August? I don't know. If it's not August, you'll definitely see Unity and its licensed partners release in September, if it's not August. Since SMS has been active for some months now, is this considered stable enough to really crank up the scale for SMS? Yes, it is. And Pakistan is set to go live with SMS. We have an additional country rolling out in the Middle East under, an initiative of hybrid model deployment. And SMS will also be seen live there too. We do expect an uptick in SMS on the network, and there is a lot of work being done behind the scenes on SMS's contracts being signed, integrations being tested, and a lot of general communication between our partners. A lot of money to be made in the world of SMS. Huge business, absolutely massive. Question six from RW. An update on the Caribbean, African rollout. What percentage of Jingle users are we roughly targeting? 10% for a launch. So in the Caribbean, we have two countries set to go live. And I'm not sure how your question, because you phrased it, any update on Caribbean African rollout. Well, we consider those two separate rollouts. In Africa, we have multiple rollouts currently marching ahead at various stages of integration. As in, the Caribbean, we're doing very well with the Jamaican parties that requested to onboard our technologies into their applications. And we have another couple of initiatives being rolled out in the Caribbean that are very exciting and set to deliver, I would say, tens of millions of users across the Caribbean to the platform. Ideally, we would have 300,000, 500,000 Jamaican users on the platform in the next short term period. I can't give you a date on that because we're working with applications to actually integrate the technologies and bring those users alive, but I can tell you that it's happening. So RW, that's the end of your questions. You have a note here. Thank you for answering and all your hard work, Josh and the Minutes team. Well, I can tell you that the Minutes team are very hard at work. It's serious days here, and we are on the pinnacle of a major success, right? We are on the apex now of the theoretical or metaphorical mountain, and we feel that we're doing a fantastic job. I don't see any other carriers making strides toward what we are doing. And actually, that's a great thing. The feedback we're getting from the SMS partners and the voice partners involved, as well as some of the regulators, is really encouraging, super positive, and I can't wait to see this expand. Right, I'm on the edge of my seat with it all, and yeah, you'll see me very very excited as Pakistan grows now, and as we deploy additional countries under the hybrid model, and as larger applications onboard themselves into the platform. We have another question from Veggie Bill 89396. Projects like Uber, Skype, and Airbnb disrupted traditional tech industries and face serious pushback from regulations, media attacks, to sabotage by incumbents. Has Minutes Network considered the possibility of similar resistance from telcos or governments? Are there any signs of this already? And what strategies are in place to handle such challenges? Well, that's a very good question. So, actually, years ago, we never thought that it would be possible for us to rent out our houses, okay, privately, okay, until Airbnb came around and offered a platform for us to sort of list our houses on. As we never thought that with the likes of Uber and Get Taxi and My Taxi and all of these sort of applications that have followed, we never thought that we could drive a taxi around without a traditional taxi license and pick up people from the street, drop them off, and make a sort of a distributed or decentralized taxi service. And it's here. and it's here to stay. It's part of the future. It's part of technological evolution, right? The planet has to evolve. The people on the planet have to evolve, and we are part of that evolution. We're driving that evolution in the space of telecommunications. Applications like Unity are very much new, and models like the Jingle integration and the hybrid rollout that we're currently deploying now, they are very new. And we have faced the same amount of resistance that applications like Viber and WhatsApp faced, which is next to none. Okay, we are simply an evolution of the technology in the space. You have to remember that in this billion-dollar industry of telecommunications, not many people, not many companies have actually advanced the technologies that are in use. They're all happy to collect their multi-billion-dollar paychecks combined on a yearly basis. But nobody looks to advance, or not many people look to advance, right? We're advancing the industry. We're doing something positive for the industry, not forgetting that our technologies improve the security of the networks, of the telecommunications network, and they also improve the call quality, and they reinvigorate carrier rates for the originating partner carriers. So I hope that answers your question, Veggie Bill. And if you have anything else to follow up on that, please don't hesitate to send it in the chat. We have a question from Jabba Dabba okay? The Telegram bot made by Nico is an awesome engagement tool. Yes, I agree with you. It's fantastic, which provides great insights to actual network performance. Is it possible to add it to the official Telegram channel? I believe it enhances the project's image for people who would like to join the chat and have not seen the Explorer. Personally, if I didn't know too much about the project and would join the official channel, I'd be a lot more interested to do deeper research if I saw data spilled out by the bot. Maybe not so much the OpenSea and buy notifications, but network activity would be great. I think that's a good initiative. I will talk to the team. I will talk to the token team. I will talk to Nico, and I will talk to Defiance, who currently moderate the majority of the chat-based communities out there today, and we'll see what can be done. I think that's a nice suggestion. So we have a question from Sojourner. In the previous AMA, Josh mentioned an app that was possibly going to go live with Minutes integration in July. Any news on this app and timeline? Yes, it's already live. Traffic is live on the application. It's a very small amount of traffic. We're currently in lab tests. We will bring that traffic to the Explorer as soon as we're satisfied with the results, as soon as the application owner is satisfied with the results, and we can, move forward in the next step of the negotiations and contracts. You have another question. With only 5 months remaining in 2025 and only 2 countries currently active on the Explorer, are you still confident that Minutes Network can reach their goal of 10% of 25 countries in 2025? Yeah, I am very confident, and I can explain why. First of all, the hybrid model allows us to scale much faster than waiting and pushing on applications to integrate. Some of these large applications, they take a bit of time. There's a CIO and a CTO and a CEO and a CFO and a lawyer, and there's lots of people that need to okay the process of the integration. That's why we have an eye on the smaller applications and medium-sized applications at the same time. But that's also why we're deploying in this hybrid model, because we simply are not reliant upon any single application to go live in any particular country. As applications come live, they obviously complement the growth and add to the scale of the network and increase the margins on the existing traffic from the hybrid rollout that exists. That being said, we are definitely confident also because some of the applications that are going live cover more than one country, right? Some of these applications are operational in 40 countries or 28 countries or 13, right? So as we onboard applications, we'll cover a lot of countries at once. And with the hybrid model, we'll see a lot of these countries go online extremely quickly. Harvey, we have a question from Harvey. Hello, any update on Val and Switch Node Dash? Well, I can't give you information on that, but I can forward your question to the next Token AMA. And I can tell you that, as I said earlier in the call, The APIs are being extended. The amount of available data is consistently being increased from the API side. And I know that the token team are working very hard to sort of integrate those data points and get more insight on the dashboard. So you can expect a updated Explorer on the token side, updated dashboard, etc., as the team roll them out over the next 30 to 45 days in my in my vision. We have a question from Deepins. What's the status of the user integration schematic that shows the progress of app integrations in key markets? That is being rolled out with the new website. There is a new Minutes Network website that's currently being worked on. And in the next update, you see specific information on not only the application integrations, but overall, our general suite of technologies will be displayed. It shows exactly where things are being worked on, what level and status that they are currently at, and where they're heading will be seen from that page. So we're excited to get that across. It's kind of like an extension to the milestones map that you can see on Minutes Network today. And it details the progress, as I said in my last AMA. Okay, we have a question from Dodo. You said the Pakistan rollout is fully in your control. What does the growth pattern we see now mean then? Okay, the growth pattern we see now, we've seen it go from zero to a decent amount of calls per day. You can expect that to increase. As I said previously, over the next couple of weeks, we're expecting massive growth. Starting tomorrow or on Thursday, you'll see the next growth spurt in Pakistan on the network. After around 2 weeks' time, we should be at an extremely significant portion of the country's the originating traffic to the country. And we'll kind of go from there. And if you'd like to ask that question again when there are hundreds of thousands and millions of minutes on the platform on Pakistan on a daily basis, we welcome the question. And Dodo, just to give you some more information there, we will be hosting an additional event solely related to the Pakistan and hybrid rollout, where we detail the technologies used, we detail the onboarding process, we detail the projected revenues and margins and our current conversion rate for onboarding and what the revenue turbine does to the traffic, etc. And we're seeing some wonderful figures. I mean, it's really nice to see from my perspective, because this is the success that we are creating, right? So you have another question, Dodo. Question 2. We had 2 weeks of good scaling, and now we have had 2 or 3 days where we have seen calls and minutes going down. Do carriers run tests on the new routes, and now we see some carriers reducing their calls to evaluate the quality, etc.? Yes, absolutely. There are carriers. There's about 9 customers currently running on the Pakistan route. All of them are running in I would say not test mode, but limited traffic volume mode. And as they gain confidence in the route, remember, these are real live calls being made from real people that subscribe to carriers like AT&T and Sprint and Verizon. They don't necessarily subscribe to the carriers I just mentioned. Those are example carriers. There's carriers all around the world. The majority of our traffic today comes from the Middle East, where programs like WhatsApp and Viber are blocked and you can't actually make an outbound call. So, using voice over IP. So they're landing in Pakistan from those originated networks. And we see that carriers are extremely happy with what we're doing. Some of them even more so, because we're increasing their margins in the process. But that being said, we expect the carriers to ramp up the traffic carefully, slowly, but as a combined effort, it's a massive amount of volume that we're expecting on this network. These are real calls. Going back to my point, they need to be delivered properly. Carriers have every right to be cautious about landing the traffic on the network, because if something fails, they're actually letting a real person, many real people down, right? They're trying to connect their call and they can't. If that happens to you and you're trying to call a taxi or a bank or a service, you'll probably get angry at your provider and you might even cancel your contract if it continuously happens, right? So we have to work hand in hand, very carefully and cautiously at the rate of the carrier. That being said, after a couple of weeks, it's known in the industry that carriers tend to trust the route a lot more, and then they let their volumes, continuously increase on the network. Question 3. If you can say so, how many minutes do you realistically see by the end of the year? I see the minimum amount of minutes I see on Pakistan by the end of the year is 70 million minutes a month. Okay, it's around 10% of the country's volume in terms of originated traffic to Pakistan. And I'm going to give you some more statistics and information on that in our next call. And a lot of detail will be provided. You'll also see some press releases from different carriers over time. And those the margin on those 70 million minutes per month will just be increasing over time as we utilize Mintech's proprietary technology suite that we've made. We can expect, to see tremendous action in Pakistan, but it won't only be Pakistan. As I said, we have this Middle East license coming up. We've got our eyes on another couple of local opportunities with local carriers. I think there's about 7 at this time. But we'll bring you more information on that in our next event. So, Dodo, you have a couple of more questions here. The app the people in Pakistan are incentivized to install, is this the native standard app of each carrier, or is this a special new one that's specifically designed for this use case, like Jingle and the rewards payback mechanism for the users? It is a new application under a local brand that will be pushed hand in hand as a marketing effort from the carrier involved and from Minutes Network. So it will be a hand-in-hand deployment. The split won't be 50-50. It will be a bit better. We will obviously be able to provide further information on that split at the time. I guess it will be different for each country. We're probably looking at a 30-70 split in our favor on Pakistan at this time. The users will be rewarded. We're currently looking at different ways to bring the users into the Web3 element of the ecosystem, and there are a couple of interesting ways. So I think we'll discuss more about that in the future. To finalize on Dodo's questions here, is this the native? We've already read this one. I do apologize. Okay, so I hope that answers your question, Dodo, and everybody else who I've read your question so far. If there's some detail that's missing, feel free to pass it over in the social media, and we'll do a roundup at the end of the call. So we have a question from Flippy. When do we get more detailed information about how the buyback wallet operates? How is it set up and how is it funded? In the last AMA, we were told we would get more info within days. Actually, Flippy, we did release more information within days via the Defiance team. And we actually answered a lot of questions that were sort of revolving in the community at the time. We have a very simple operation in the Buy wallet. It's funded by the revenues of the telecommunications operation. 100% of the net revenue is used to make those buys, and it's set up in a very simple manner. We have a dedicated small team to run this bot. It's running very well right now. We're very happy with what we've seen. We've taken feedback from the ambassadors, community ambassadors, and we've also taken feedback from the various social media platforms. We've implemented feedback in the most positive way possible. And we continue to monitor the bot's activity, and we continue to monitor social media to see, the relevant feedback and the relevant indications of the need to upgrade the bot or any of its algorithms. In its current state, we are very happy. If you do have any complaints about the bot, please put them forward to the social media across the various platforms, and we can take them into consideration, right? We're always receptive when it comes to constructive criticism, and we are always open to feedback. So we have a question from Bill. If I may tag on to Dodo's question, would we be able to get a basic synopsis of how the test calls work, i.e., a scaling testing summary for the community to fall back on when, for example, calls reach an all-time high and then subside significantly, or when carrier countries drop in and out? It need not be a live feed explaining the minute of each moment, but in general terms, giving the community a greater understanding of why things are happening the way they are will lead to less speculation, greater understanding, and more patience. Yes, we do provide as much of a synopsis as we can. We provide it via the Defiance team on any questions that we see. We also provide that synopsis in these live communication events. We welcome live questions. We read every question that gets asked across the social media platforms. We try to give a very detailed answer. But to answer your actual question specifically here, you might see an all-time high in one network or another, but that's a very isolated all-time high, and the next all-time high is just around the corner, right? Especially when we're rolling out this live hybrid. We're working hand in hand with some of the largest carriers in the world on this Pakistan deployment. We have multiple contracts on the desk, and we're in a very good position. So the all-time high that you're referring to is, let's consider it yesterday's all-time high, and tomorrow we'll see a new all-time high. So, I hope that does answer your question, Bill. If it doesn't, as I said, or if anybody else has any questions, please do post them in social media. So I see another couple of questions here as we go. I believe they're being added to the document. So we have a question from Did anybody ask if there will be a big announcement planned for Rare Evo, similar to World Mobile? Yes, we do have some big announcements planned for Rare Evo. However, we try to, give you the announcements as they are ready. We don't like to talk about what's happening in the future. We prefer to talk about what's happened yesterday or now, right? The next biggest thing is additional countries. The next biggest thing is global scale. The next biggest thing is to see Pakistan move into the hundreds of thousands and millions of minutes a day. And the next biggest thing is applications coming live on the network, delivering multiple countries in one shot. So I hope that answers your question. CR11, we have a question from CR11. How many estimated onboarded and monetized users for 2025 and 2026? Please give some estimate numbers. I can't give you those numbers. The estimates are too high for us to communicate. We are very excited and optimistic about what we're doing. The feedback from the different carriers is fantastic. We're very happy with what we see. And we only see growth from here. And we see immediate growth as well as midterm growth and long-term growth. We are in a very special position when it comes to the telecommunications industry, and we are seeing a significant uptick in Jingle integration requests, as well as general origination and network integration requests, right? So we're happy with what we see. In terms of projections, we will make some projections, but we'll make them in an educated manner with real data, and we'll do that in the next event that will be dedicated to Pakistan. Those projections will be based on Pakistan and perhaps the upcoming Middle East rollout as well. So we have a question from Val. As some countries block WhatsApp and VoIP providers, how can we deliver service there as we're routing through VoIP? So when I referred to Saudi Arabia and Dubai, UAE, etc., yes, they block voice over IP services like WhatsApp. They are the originating side, not the terminating side. So we, tend to terminate calls only in countries that don't legislate voice over IP and don't block voice over IP. In Pakistan, it's not legislated. We are delivering under a hybrid model with a 20-year carrier license in hand. That being said, in Dubai, they do block WhatsApp, and that's why calls, from the UAE are made in massive volumes to Pakistan, right? Because they can't call them on WhatsApp. So it's just it's a spectacular country to run in. It's one of the largest countries in the world. It's one of the most difficult countries to navigate in terms of telecommunications. It's all controlled by the government. There are a lot of deals in place, and we're fortunate enough to have a very, very strong partner on the ground who believes that this, hybrid rollout is the first of many under that carrier, right? And we've been speaking to some of the world's largest carriers face to face over the last couple of maybe 6 to 8 weeks. And we're getting amazing feedback. So we feel very strongly about what we're doing, and we feel that, and I hope, Val, you understand the difference between those countries that block WhatsApp being good for origination and those countries that block WhatsApp being bad for termination, right? So for us, it's the ultimate model in Pakistan. Joshua F. Hey, Josh, massive well done to you and the team for all the great work. My family had a little celebration on seeing the first Epoch rewards coming through. Glad to hear that. Thank you very much for the feedback, Joshua. We appreciate that, and we hope that you enjoy, what we're doing, and we hope that your family enjoy what we're doing. With Unity around the corner, I was wondering if you could help with a couple of clarifications. One, will Unity roll out in its full capacity in all countries on the old calculator, or phased based on where Minutes and World Mobile are currently deployed? Yes, it will be rolled out in full capacity. The old calculator, we'll release a new calculator for the release of Unity. We also have a brand new licensee at Unity, and it's set to sort of take the world by storm, right? This is a handheld device that allows you to mine rewards or generate rewards without the huge consumption of electricity, without the huge hardware cost, or hash rates changing where you need to buy new hardware. I mean, this is a game changer, especially for people in second and third world countries, right? Because in some countries it's generating more rewards than the average national salary. So extremely exciting. Very unique. Nobody's got anything like it. It delivers scale to the network. It increases the rewards delivered to the sharing economy via the node economy. It utilizes the switch nodes, and it makes our carrier partners happy, right? It sort of complements everything that we're doing. So this bit of technology is an immense, piece of art, and we're very proud of what we've done here at Minutes Network and World Mobile. Rest assured that there will be a large launch ahead, and we will release a new calculator with and for that launch. You have a second question, Joshua F. When we say full capacity, it has been mentioned previously that there will be a software and hardware rollout. Can we expect the values on the old Unity calculator and the rewards per minute to be accurate for the version of Unity at rollout? You can expect it to be somewhere near accurate. It might be higher in some regions. It should be mentioned that carrier rates do change probably every 6 to 12 months. We will update that calculator and ensure that you have a latest version at the rollout, okay, so that you're very clear on what creates what in terms of rewards. And you have another question. Question 3, will you or NodeLocker be taking registrations for the Unity Ambassadors program? And is there anything we can do pre-launch to register interest or help with this rollout? So for NodeLocker, I believe that between us and World Mobile, we haven't signed the contracts with NodeLocker just yet. And I'm pretty sure that's just down to communications, and I think it might be related to an exclusivity right that we were that we were discussing. Okay, so we can expect the NodeLocker contracts to be signed. I will be reaching out to Chris after this event, and Richie, and we will have a very open discussion, and we will release the results of that discussion openly on our social media platforms. There's not really much you can do pre-launch. It is very exciting. I personally have some Unity nodes running right now. They are making significant amounts of rewards depending on the country they run in. And in terms of register interest, we'll release a mailing list, sign up for you to be able to receive exact information as to when Unity is released nearer the time. And you've ended with many thanks. So thank you too for your questions. Very much appreciated. Of course, we welcome all questions, including live questions from the community. If anybody has any live questions today, please don't hesitate to request to speak. We will grant you microphone access, and we can have any conversation that you'd like live on the call. That is the end of the questions that I've received. I will go to social media and just have a look if there are any. Josh seems to be in very high spirits. I'm always in high spirits. I'm excited about what we're doing, right? It's an amazing this is my this is my passion. All I do is telecommunications. All I've ever done is telecommunications, and I am a telecommunications engineer and expert in digital telecommunications. So I love what I do. For me, it's not work. It's part of a mission, and I appreciate your questions, and I appreciate your enthusiasm, both equally. Right. So hi, Callis. Welcome to the stage. You are now a speaker.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you just fine. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. Thanks very much for having me on. Just getting to the questions right away. I am in the car, so hopefully the connection lasts. But you mentioned that Pakistan is a 20-year contract signed. Do the other countries that you're talking to, I think you mentioned the Middle East, do they have contracts this long as well, or are they more for a shorter period of time?
Yes, it's the standard in the industry. 20 years on a termination deal is the regular timescale and time window for these opportunities.
Oh, wow. Okay. So the other thing we were talking about is countries that do not allow VoIP to terminate into VoIP. Now, if you got a carrier contract, could you terminate with VoIP, or are you still not allowed to?
In some cases, it really depends on the contract, but we are not looking at any countries that currently ban or regulate VoIP. In the majority of countries, VoIP is not regulated or banned. I think there's only less than 20 countries in the world where it is regulated.
Okay. Yeah, and a lot of my questions were actually answered. There was a lot of questions today, so a lot of them were answered already. When it comes to users on the hybrid model, are they treated like exactly like users on the regular model as in terms of like rewards and stuff like that, like rewards paid out in MNTX?
Yes, they are indeed. And that's part of what we're discussing with the token right now, just to sort of drive Web3 adoption. I mean, we have access to so many users, right? And it's growing. The amount of users that are actually utilizing the node technology is growing. So we are in a position where we are looking with the token to sort of Web3ize these users. We're also talking to WM Chain. Lots of opportunities, not just in the rewarding of callers and callees with MNTX as the plan, as per the tokenomics over there, but also general onboarding into our ecosystem and network. There's nothing. There's nobody in the space that's actually doing that successfully. So I think we'll be the first.
Perfect. And the revenue turbine that we keep talking about and the Mintech suite, I know we've mentioned that a few times now. Is that something we can expect that gives us more revenue per minute than just traditionally ending calls? Or is it just kind of like an added benefit to the carrier for terminating
No.
the
It directly increases the margin for us and for the carrier. In some cases, we could have a 40 to 50% increased margin on every call, on every second of the call, minute by minute, due to the technology that's being rolled out in the revenue turbine. And we've already passed the testing phase. Everything is working beautifully. It's currently integrated in Pakistan right now. We have this sort of control center where we're looking at the different options, and some of the metrics that it's reporting back to us are phenomenal.
Okay, so the Mintech suite only really it does increase margin on the calls that are on our network.
Yes, it does. So you can bring traditional traffic onto the network under a hybrid model, and we can onboard users, frequent callees with Jingle, increasing margins dramatically, 100% of call revenue capture. And we can also at the same time deploy technologies like the revenue turbine, which generally increase the margin across the entire amount of traffic for Minutes network.
Perfect. Just kind of switching gears here. When, a few months ago we were talking about a potential expansion into Mexico, has there been any updates on that? We haven't heard about that in a while.
Mexico is going very well. We are in a position to launch a massive network in Mexico. However, at this current time, we do have a lot of eyes on the application rollout that's currently taking place. And on the hybrid model rollout itself. But Mexico is set to come online, indeed, and there's a lot of traffic to Mexico. And unlike any other country, I think there's a couple out there, but unlike the majority of countries, Mexico is actually billed per minute. It's not billed per second. So, if you're on the telephone for 1 minute and 2 seconds, we bill for 2 minutes. So it's a really interesting destination.
That's great. And then the final, I guess, question I have today is, we talked a little bit about SMS. There is a milestone on the milestone list for August 8th, which is, I believe, this Friday. Is that still on track, and will we see SMS begin to kind of come up online as that milestone passes?
So SMS is actually running live on the network right now. We are happy, as I said, with the stability and the integrity of the SMS system. But we are also set to increase the amount of SMSs that are passed on the network, therefore increasing the revenue related to SMS services. In the next Explorer update, we will detail the countries that the SMSs are being terminated to, as well as the related revenues for those countries.
Perfect. So it does sound like it's coming along. So
It's coming along. It's
just
coming along greatly.
just as another follow up, are we gonna get like customer to customer texts on the network, or is this mostly business to customer type applications?
There are commercial deployments. I mean, it's at the moment there are call center SMSs, there are one-time passcodes, A2P traffic, retail traffic. I mean, we're dealing with all of it. We see traffic as traffic, right? And these large tier 1 and tier 2 operators, they only deliver the finest quality of traffic. So when it comes to expansion, you can consider that we'll be operating in all valuable sectors of the telecommunications industry, referring to SMS itself.
Okay, awesome. I think that's all the questions I have. Thanks very much for answering them today.
No, absolutely, Callus. Your questions are always appreciated. Thank you very much for coming up on the on the microphone there. And for anybody else that would like to come live and ask any questions or just have a chat, you are more than welcome. If you'd like to click the request to talk button, that would be fantastic. For now, we have covered all of the questions from the various social media platforms, and I don't see any additional questions live in the communities on my first look. I did see that Excited Blowfish had some. Okay, he says, Excited Blowfish says, I'm sorry if this was already answered, but might have missed it and will re listen in that case. Regarding the 25 countries by the end of 2025, beside SEW deal, or is the SEW deal included here? It is included, but a lot of the applications that we're currently working to onboard, they do deliver a significant amount of countries all at once for us, because generally speaking, unless it's a local application, the users of that application are sort of spread everywhere across the globe, right? Some applications have a huge amount of countries with users. Some of those countries have less than the ideal 10%, but coupled with the hybrid model and the global expansion ahead, we expect those applications to massively complement the profits or margins that we're making on the network. And we expect them to deliver far more than 25 countries. I hope that answers your question, Excited Blowfish, just to sort of cover there. Do I see one more request? I can see a request from Dazkar. Hi, Dazkar, can you hear me? So I'm not quite sure if Dazkar can hear me or not. Hi, Dazkar. It says that you're connecting. I think we should wait just a couple of minutes for Dazkar. I see that we have one more request, but when I actually click on the requested speakers, I don't see any additional requests, so I'm unable to answer that one. Okay, Dazkar again. Hi, Dazkar. It says you are connecting. Okay, well, whilst we wait for Dazkar, I think that kind of wraps up today's event. We've delivered news on most of the topics that we're currently working on. There are a couple of bits of news that are on the tip of my tongue that I want to tell you, but we're awaiting the strategic alignment in terms of MOUs and contracts signed. So I'm going to hold back on those as hard as it is. I hope to see some of you guys at Rare Evo and some of the upcoming conferences along the year. And the team at Minutes Network are extremely positive and excited for what is to come on all sides, right? We're doing an amazing job. We believe in what we're doing, and we thank you for your support. We thank you for joining us today. And depending where you're calling in from, we hope you have a wonderful day, evening, or night. And before I end, as I always say, right, every minute really does count. So if there is nothing else to answer and there are no more questions, and Dazkar, if you'd like to try one more time to connect live before we end, we'd love to have you live here with us today. Otherwise, I'm sure in the next session, if you'd like to re-request, and the next session should be announced around the 14th or 15th of August. It won't be too much longer. So I think...
Hey, Josh.
Go ahead, Callus. Yes, please.
Just maybe we'll give him a minute or two more, but just on the one other question I had while you were doing that last Blowfish update or answering his question. When it comes to user priority, I know in the apps you said first come first serve style. With this hybrid, is it the same idea? Like, will an app, this hybrid system, will an app, like if a user is come on an application first, do they get priority, or does the carrier
No,
get
no,
priority? Like, how
the
does priority?
application absolutely takes priority. We prioritize termination where the margin is higher. And if an application has, similar users, if there are two applications and they share some users, we obviously prioritize the first onboarded application to take those calls.
Okay, and then you said you prioritize where the margin is higher. So how do you do that if like a lower margin carrier or a lower margin application, because they're bigger, let's say they take 50% and a carrier will only take 30%. Do you prioritize that, or is it still just first come, first serve?
We prioritize the application over the carrier endpoint, okay? And the reason for that is simple. It's because the margin is higher for us. If there are two applications sharing the same user, we prioritize the application that onboarded first. We believe that's fair, and that's the model that we've deployed.
Perfect. Thanks. That clears it up.
Of course, Callus, of course. So I don't think Dazkar is with us just yet. Dazkar, if you'd like to write any questions that you may have in the community, we can hang on for another couple of minutes if you'd like. Alternatively, you're welcome to join the next event live. If there's anybody else who would like to come up to the stage to ask any live questions, we would love to answer them. And I don't want to run this event too much over the hour mark. We're already at an hour 13. So I do, I wish that we could hear your questions or feedback or whatever it may be that you would like to say, Dazkar, but I don't think it's going to happen on this session. I do apologize if you can hear me. Twitter sometimes has these, hiccups when it comes to requesting to speak. I must say that lately it has been acting very well, and we're happy with the platform. So I think that summarizes everything for today's event. Thank you so much for joining. And again, we wish you a lovely day or night or evening, wherever you are. And every minute counts, guys. Thank you for your time. Have a lovely day.